You guys want to talk about some mistakes that are made sometimes, and I think we learn the best from our mistakes. This Trade of the Day is brought to you by Day Trade the World, the #1 trading company in the world. So check them out, scan that, and see what they're all about. But okay, here's Meta. Look, today obviously down 6%. They came out with a bad report. It was bad, right? But what I was thinking was that maybe enough is enough, and we've heard the worst. We had the big Fed day yesterday, the largest day in the NASDAQ since April of 2020. So what do? I'm thinking long, baby, when I should have been thinking short. But look at this. This is the key level here that we actually drew up, and we actually put it on the sticky note. And if you look just real quick, this is 158, 157, right? You go back all the way to the 14th of July, where we were already back down here, where we bounced around 158, 157. We do have some bottom wicks down there, 154, and so on and so forth. Those didn't actually happen, and if they did, it was pre and post market, so we don't really care too much about it. So we're thinking today that maybe this 158 could be the bottom, and then we pull it back down. Maybe it's going to be 157, right? Did we ever expect it to be 156 or whatever that was today? Nah, that was yesterday on the move down for the earnings. So let's go have a look at what actually happened with Facebook, aka Meta. I guess the real name is Meta, to the downside. So this is where I really got a little silly with the trade, and I feel like this is where the lack of discipline comes into play one more time, because we should not have, like, I put a bid on here because it was the bottom of the range there on the pre-market, but whatever, man. The market has to open up to give me the ranges, and I said that over and over. I don't want to be trading any earnings name in the first couple minutes. We saw that with Google yesterday. Google topped 110.50, then 1 minute later was at, literally 1 minute later was at 108. So right there, that's $2 back and forth. You know, you get caught in that and it's a problem. So that's exactly the problem that happened today. So here we go, 161. But then by the time it comes in, you got long 161 and it just tanks all the way down. Well, if I'm long 161, hey, why not try 159? But Sean, your levels were at 158 and 157, but oh well, I'm in again. It breaks through 159 and we get out. So we start the day right away with like a $2, $2.50 hit, something like that. It's not on maximum shares, but we're saying to ourselves, why? We're saying why are we long this name? But the problem is it continues to drop down. And then we're like, okay, now we're at 158. We can finally justify going long. So we let it fall all the way back in. The problem is there's 158 and in a straight line, like there's no green candles here, right? But what we do is we respect it again. We don't take 157 because we're like, oh my God, this is continuing to go to the downside. Boom, 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 boom. Just keeps on coming down. So we take a 156.50, then a 155. Remember what we talked about right here? These numbers coming down to 155. We didn't think that was going to happen, but it does. It comes right back in down there, and we have to wind up getting out. The good news here is we reloaded the long at that bottom because we finally saw, and this is like, finally, it starts, and maybe I should have taken these off, but you start to see some bouncing around down here. It's the first time that this move actually stops. So we sort of put on one of those Hail Marys, right? Aaron Rodgers, Hail Mary, that's for you, Neil, all the way down there at that bottom, 155. Then what starts to happen? And this is, again, big one, right? I see Neil shaking his head there. This is not Josh Allen and Stefan Diggs here, my man. There you go, to the down. But we don't have Devontae anymore, so we'll have to figure that out. There it is. We have your boy Sammy Watkins, though, Neil. Okay, all the way to the upside now, 155. And look at this. It's an explosion to the upside, but we don't make back what we lost. Why? Because as it's starting to come back up, we just start getting out because we're like, oh, relief is here. And then we just start hitting it out. Then we get another piece out at 157. Another piece at 157.50, another piece at 158. But remember, we're still long down here at 155. So these 158s kind of makes up for a lot of this. But again, it's not on the maximum share size, right? So as it's falling down, I'm like absorbing all these losses and getting out at max pain. When you get out at max pain, you got to be able to hold it for a little bit of a move back. Thankfully, we do hold and wind up getting some out at 160 when we break back 160 back to the downside. So we wind up taking about a $5 winner. The only problem is we didn't have the whole piece. So it's your trade of the day, but the important thing to understand is if I just would have followed my own little rule here, then that trade that happens at 161 and then again at 159 just would have never happened. So it would have made some of these hits a lot better. And then when we have that bottom finally, we're able to like sort of get back what we've lost. I don't think this was a trade where I could have ever made money today. I mean, the bias that I had was to the long side, which is completely wrong. So should have flipped over some shorts when we realized this was happening. However, we did pick that bottom, and the Meta did reward us for holding. So sometimes you get a little lucky on that one. Meta, not nearly as bad as it was at about 9:35. It's your trade of